At the start of our 1 month long epic Europe trip where we'd be visiting 25 different theme parks, the first roller coaster we rode when we got to the continent was Rutschebanen, an old historic wooden roller coaster at Tivoli Gardens. It opened in 1914, so yes, it is over 100 years old, and it's a scenic railway attraction. This means that it's using side friction to stay on the track, and there are no brakes. There is a physical brakeman that rides with you on the coaster, controlling the speed of the ride. And let me tell you, everything about this attraction blew me away. I loved it. It seriously became one of my favorite roller coasters that we experienced in Europe, which I was not expecting at all, because on paper, this ride does not look like much. But if I could use a word to describe this coaster, it is surprising. Now, I think what it really comes down to is the train design with the lap bars. This is an old roller coaster. They didn't have the same restraint mechanisms that they do now. Technology has absolutely changed. So we are looking at a very simple bar that goes across the lap that does not touch your body. While it's a different design, if you've experienced Jackrabbit at Kennywood, yeah, I think it's something kind of like that. You know how that double down feels? That pure moment of absolute insanity when you're just getting ejected out of your seat? That's all of Russhibanen. Every single hill feels like that one double down on Jackrabbit. It is absolutely insane, and I was not expecting that at all. And again, it's because this coaster doesn't look like much. We're talking a height of 40 feet. Max speed, 37 miles per hour. But let me tell you, it feels a lot faster than that. I think part of that is because this is a pretty themed experience. All of Russhibanen takes place in this mountain. It's one of the main things you see when you're entering Tivoli Gardens. This just really cool structure. It's actually one of the inspirations for the Matterhorn at Disneyland. Walt went to Tivoli Gardens and checked out Russhibanen and was like, whoa, I want that in my park. Unfortunately, Matterhorn turned out nowhere near as good as Russhibanen, but because this attraction is so old, they just do things differently here. Like for instance, you can be on the station platform when the train is moving. There's no guardrails, gates that open. You could step onto the train when it's still moving. During one of my rides, they dispatched it and my restraint was not down. There's no seatbelt or anything. It's just this lap bar. And we hadn't done it when they started moving the vehicles. And the brakeman's just like, just pull it down, like you'll be fine. We were like, what the heck? And they don't really care how far down this lap bar is. As long as it's engaged, you're good. So you could theoretically get one click every single cycle. So yeah, this ride is absolutely wild. And having a brakeman on the train with you is an insane experience. I'd never seen anything like it. But one thing's for sure, they're having a blast. They're like standing up during parts of the ride, swinging out to the side during certain turns. Like, you know that they're like, this is the best job in the world. Like, I almost had more fun watching the brakeman than the actual attraction, just because it was so fascinating to see. But I mean, this is quite a layout here. First of all, it starts off with a cable lift up to the top. It's very quick and silent. You make your first turn, you get a great view of Copenhagen, and then you plunge into the mountain, and there's a lot of near misses here. This thing gets really close to the walls and the roof. I don't even know if this thing like meets clearance standards. I mean, the brakeman at one point is standing up, and then as soon as he goes into a part that's kind of low, he just sits back down. Like, if his timing is off, yeah, he would absolutely get like whacked by the wall. But at Tivoli Gardens, like, it's fine. Like, these brakemen are experienced. Like, they'll be good. It's just something that you would never, ever see in the US. But it's been operating for 100 years, and they've never had an issue. So that's why I say the roller coaster is just so fascinating. But then the ride experience is so good. It is packed full of airtime hills. It is so well designed for just prime airtime experience. Like, even if it's not the most extreme, because there's barely a restraint, it feels crazier than it probably is. Like, I was freaking out going over some of these hills because I don't know if I would use the word safe to describe how I felt riding this ride, just because you feel so free and open, and you're flying over these hills wondering, oh my gosh, how is this allowed? But like I said, times were different back then. So yeah, it's all good. So as you can imagine, I rode the crap out of this thing. We were at Tivoli for a couple hours. I think probably got like 6 rides in on Russhibanen. I absolutely loved it. I genuinely don't have any complaints about this ride. It was even pretty smooth. Like, tell me how a roller coaster that old felt that smooth, but then you get some new roller coasters that are running rougher than this thing was. So yeah, for Russhibanen's final score, I mean, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. The fact that they designed a ride this good back then is incredible. I can genuinely say no other roller coaster in the world has given me the feeling that I got while riding on this attraction. The only one that came close is that one moment on Jackrabbit. But I tell you what, next time I go ride Jackrabbit, I'm probably going to be disappointed because it's just that one singular spot when Russhibanen is just that over and over and over again. So yes, if you weren't familiar with this ride before, this is something you should go out and experience. You will not be disappointed. However, you will be disappointed if you go and ride the other Russhibanen, which is at Bakken. That's another really old wooden roller coaster, except they took out the Brakeman, and so now it just does everything itself, and the forces aren't there, the airtime isn't there. That ride is just plain boring. It did absolutely nothing for me. So yes, if you can only ride one of the Russhibanens in Denmark, this is the one you gotta do. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of this attraction. If it's something you've gotten to experience, let me know what you thought and share your Brakeman story. I'm sure everyone has one. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.